Hey everybody, before the show starts, log on to musicmoneymakeover.com/shop to download all my books and free guides. And while you're there, make sure you click on the book a call tab to book a call with me to get all your questions answered and your problem solved. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover Show. My name is Casey Graham, and on this episode we're talking about 6 ways you can make money with your music. How to make money with your music in 6 different ways, okay? Now, as per usual, we got to jump into our copyright explain scenario. So if you already got this part, just skip ahead 60 seconds or just click on the chapters that I have below in the YouTube video so you can just go through each section. All right, for those of you all who need a review on copyright, let's jump right into it. So a copyright is the sole right which an author has in his own original literary compositions, the exclusive right of an author to print, publish, and vend his own literary works for his own benefit. Okay, now for this will help us for this video today. The music industry operates and revolves around 2 copyrights, and that's the sound recording copyright and the performing arts copyright. For the sound recording copyright, we refer to them as sound recordings or records or the audio recording file, the WAV, the MP3, the AIFF of the composition and or song, which is the masters, right? And you can receive that money from DistroKid and Sound Exchange. But on the other side, the performing arts copyright is the performing arts as in the composition, the sheet music, the MIDI files, publishing or the song to be performed. And all of this side right here is referred to as publishing. Okay, all right, and all the companies that you see here, the MLC, BMI, CSAC, ASCAP, Music Match, Music Reports, Harry Fox Agency, and Lyric Find, all have everything to do with the performing arts copyright. All right, let's keep going. So we have 6 rights of copyright to be exercised to the fullest extent of the U.S. Constitution under Title 17, and that's the right to reproduce, the right to prepare derivative works, the right to distribute, the right to public performance, the right to public display, and the right to digital performance. Okay, so now I want to jump into today's topic, but I'm going to let you know that a lot of the stuff that I'm pulling 6 examples from the book that I have below, The Musician's Guide to Self-Publishing, right down below. So if you don't have that book, grab it. I'm just pulling 6 examples from it. There are many more examples in that book, so I'm not spoiling it all. And I don't want to spoil it all for you or my pocket. So anyway, I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, I'm looking at my slides. Let's jump into the first one. Physical records. All right. You see the cassette tape and the vinyl and the CD and all that stuff. Well, check it out. So physical records are, I'm going to say now, a mainstay. The reason why people stopped buying them was because, number one, Napster came in, for those of you all who don't know, back in 99 and 2000. When that came in, that kind of kicked a lot of physical stuff out of the way. And people only gravitated towards Napster and getting free music on P2P sites and stuff like that, like Kazaa or Napster itself or BearShare, LimeWire, all this stuff. People only did that because most of the albums that artists were putting out were whack. Nobody wanted to hear them. Nobody cared. And it was impossible to go and collect and have a huge library of music that you wanted to hear, or stuff that you never got a chance to hear because you couldn't afford to buy it, or just prices were too high. So for me, a physical copy is great when I'm already a fan of the artist, and this will be a building block right here. Your physical copies will be a building block to building your super fan economy. There will be more on that, but physical copies really only now sell to your fans, your true super fans who are going to buy from you. So make your physical copies look very nice and presentable so they can have as a keepsake. Vinyl records will be the top selling here. CDs will be the next in line, and then cassettes will be right underneath. If you're savvy enough to, get some cassettes made and you decide to go with the USB cassettes, just know it's going to be very expensive to press those, but they look very good and they're cool to have when you can just plug into the computer and get the music and all the digital stuff and the videos and all that stuff off of the cassette tape. Okay, so if you price your cassette tape or your USB cassette tapes accordingly, it could be very profitable for you depending on how much you put on those tapes. All right, so the next thing that we have in store right here is, let's go back to the slide. A popular thing, beat leasing on BeatStars. BeatStars has become the mainstay when it comes to beat leasing. Now, this is another way for producers or just creators in general to make money with their music. This is not something that's like, you have to do it, right? But BeatStars is a great way to sell your music and get money for it. Now, I want to make you all, your producers, aware that if you're using samples on BeatStars, they're coming for you. They're closing in fast. So if you're sampling stuff and you're selling it to other people so that they can put it out, you're making money off of sampled product, and that's infringement. And if you're doing a lot of it, they are coming for you. Who is they? The powers that be that own these publishing rights to these songs that you sample. So be very mindful when you're sampling records out there and you're making a lot of money from it. They will come and sue you for that. You don't have to put it up for sale in a standard way for you to get sued for it. All you have to do is make a profit with it. So watch those samples. But beat leasing is a way that you can make money and make a decent living actually leasing beats if you want to do it that way, okay? Because a lot of people have and still do and will continue to go into this platform. It is a perfect model for people who are just getting their feet wet in the beat game. All right, let's go to the next example right here. So our next one is kind of along the lines of leasing. It is MicroSync. So we're talking about Pond 5 and Audio Jungle. The difference with MicroSync versus beat leasing is you can't use your YouTube content ID to protect yourself, because MicroSync is for people that have YouTube channels and who are doing short films and who need music for their productions. Okay, so instead of you're going to have to choose either or you're going to have to lease beats, and then you're going to have to do your MicroSync on the side, or either or. Once you step into the lease beats market, then anyone who wants to use your song for production may have issues on their YouTube channels. This is why MicroSync exists. It's separate of beat leasing, but it operates the same way. The only difference is you're not selling to artists, you're selling to production companies who need to use your music. So if you get into this game, just be mindful that content ID won't be available, and you probably don't want to cross paths with, beat leasing, because it's going to screw up your operation. You got to kind of choose either or. The money to be made on the MicroSync side is higher than beat leasing sometimes, or they're about neck and neck. But either or, you got to choose which world you want to be in with this one. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide here. Movies and TV synchronization. Okay, so movies and television synchronization is a great place to sell your music. All right, to lease the rights, or license rather. We don't want to use lease in this scenario. This is called a licensing agreement. It's sync licensing. Okay, synchronization licensing, and the results of this, or the revenue that you can generate from this, will be pretty substantial. It's a lot of hard work. You don't just get synchronizations like that. It's sometimes synchronization companies don't, just adhere to everyone's music. It's a certain type of music they're looking for that will fit with dialogue and picture. And from my experience and the things that I've had synced before, you got to have space and ebb and flow in your music. And there's certain formats to it. There's learning how to do button stops and the tail end of things, and there's putting the build-ups in there, and it's a different structure when you're going into the TV synchronization land. But if that is your business model, it will be very lucrative as long as you stay consistent and you keep the relationships going with all your sync agents. All right. What I recommend going into it yourself, it's very hard to be a person who will be sending non-solicited stuff out. So you're going to have to do a lot of networking. And with this climate and everybody locked down, or just indoors rather, or not really doing much moving around, the networking has become harder for this type of opportunity, but it is still out there. And I recommend going through a sync agent if you don't have any experience in this, because the money will still be made. All right, so let's go to the next slide right here. So our next slide is going to be retail and mood music. All right. Retail and mood music makes money on the penny side, but it gets you more listeners at one time. All right. So if you can visualize your music enhancing a shopper's experience, okay, then this will help right here. And you can go through places like Mood Media and Soundtrack Your Brand to submit your music to get it in retail stores. But I recommend this option for those of you all who are doing standard releases through Spotify and iTunes and all that good stuff. This is something to add to your repertoire, or you record companies who have independent artists. This is something that you want to look at. Mood and retail music, elevator music. That's really what it is, okay? If you have that type of music, it doesn't fit everywhere, but you can still make money in this category right here. So don't rule it out. All right. So like I said, it's in the pennies area, but you can still make money off of it. All right. Our next slide is somewhat of a given. All right. It's online content. Okay. Online content will be the main vehicle of selling your music. All right. Now it's indirect money. It's indirect revenue generation, if you will. Okay. But it's not going to be quick. But you have to be in it for the long game when it comes to online content and building that promotion. Because if you do YouTube content and you build up a following on YouTube, you can monetize your YouTube page. All right. And so you can now, instead of having TuneCore collect the money and taking a 20% cut off the top, you can say, hey, exclude my channel, and you make all the money from your channel when you put your music videos out and your audio videos and all that stuff, which is exactly what you want. You don't necessarily want TuneCore to do that. So here's what I would recommend if you're going to put your music videos out and all this stuff. Here's a little golden nugget. Allow TuneCore to monetize your YouTube spends for you. Okay? Allow them to do that until your YouTube page gets up to par, where you can monetize your entire YouTube page, and then get back on the line with TuneCore and cut them off so you can bring that 20% to you. Okay, now this last one is a bit of a bonus. It's not number 6, but it's something that's overlooked, and I talk about it in my book a little bit for just a brief second. It's webcast radio. All right, webcast radio is a perfect place for those who cannot run a full terrestrial radio campaign. I'm telling all of you artists, do not sleep on webcast radio, because if you get with a webcast radio promoter, you can garner a lot of listeners. This is a market that is not untapped, but it's not heavily tapped. So if you tap into the webcast radio market, then you can build an audience out of, where people don't really gather their audience from. Like it's like you have terrestrial radio, you have college radio, and then you have internet and webcast radio right here. And it's a sweet spot if you can corner the market, if you can get all of it in there. All right, so I recommend that, and that's the bonus right there, webcast radio. Anyway, if you've enjoyed all of this, I don't want to forget to mention that a lot of this information came from my books down below, so you can grab those down below, and people who have read those and dug in have really gotten a lot of information from it. I mean, it's more than just a starter book. It's something that can really stick with you for a while. It's a great companion to all you need to know about the music business, but it digs in a little bit further than that. It gives you some real game there. Okay, so download those below, and I will see you all later on in the week. Peace. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the show. Make sure you log on to musicmoneymakeover.com/shop to download all my books and free guides. And while you're there, click on the Book a Call tab to book a call with me to get all your questions answered and problems solved. I'll see you all soon.